Right, so I'm going to send this over to Mr. King. He's going to start the review. What I need you to do as I'm sending it over to him is go to Google Classroom. And you want to get the review worksheet for today. So it is posting, as you can see on the screen. It is there now. So on the stream, it's the first tab there. So section 5.1 and 5.2 review worksheet. So if you can pull that up from Google Classroom, Mr. King is going to start that with you, and then I'll work through some more problems with you as well.
So I'll give you guys a second to pull that up.
Yeah, if you can give us a thumbs up when you have it pulled up, just so that we know you're ready. So just give me a thumbs up. You've got this open and ready to go.
Still waiting on a couple thumbs ups. Okay, we'll get started. So if you notice, 1 and 2 are two problems that are asking for the same things, but we have the parabolas are written in 2 different ways. We have vertex form, and then we also have standard form. So I'm going to go through each of these with you, and because these are the 2 different ways we're able to graph. On the left is vertex form, and in my opinion is a little bit easier. Vertex form, if you remember, has a variable we're finding A, H, and K. Chase, what is the A, what's the H, what's the K?
The A is 3, and then the H is -2, and the K is was that right for the H?
So the H is opposite of what it looks like. So it looks like -2, so it should be a +2, and then the last one is
5.
Yep, -5. So remember, H is the one that we always look to be opposite. Once we go there, we do our axis of symmetry. Just to review, the axis of symmetry is X equals H, and then the vertex is H comma K. So these 2 are given to you. They're easy. We've been doing these. So we have X equals 2, and then we have 2, -5 as your vertex. So that's why graphing with the vertex form is pretty easy, because these are all given to you. The y-intercept is the only one you have to do a little bit of work. And for this one, we're going to find out when x equals 0. We're going to plug in. So we get y equals 3. And then we have 0 minus 2 squared minus 5. Bill, using the order operations, what do I do first?
You do the inside of the parentheses, which would give you -2.
Yeah. Okay, what do we do next?
Then you would square the -2, which would give you 4.
Good, what's next?
Multiply the 3 and the 4, which would give you 12 minus 5, which would then give you 7.
Good, so what's our final point for the y-intercept? 0,
0, 7.
Yeah, that's it. So these are the pieces of information you have. We have 0, 7, 2, 5, and 2. So this is just a review of what we've been doing already. Once you get this, you're going to get your dashed line. So I'm going to go to 2. Put a dashed line on 2. My vertex is going to be 2, -5. Y-intercept is 0, 7. Notice we have a very steep parabola here. And then you do your mirror. Who can tell me what is the mirrored point that we're going to put down? What's the XY coordinates? Anya, do you know?
-2, -5.
So if you're going to mirror, we're going to mirror this point right here. So we want to see that it's going to go 2 away, 1, 2, and then you do mirror it 1, 2 away again. And that's going to give us the point right here, which is going to be 4, 7. When you have that, this will be a hard parabola to draw. Draw your parabola, and you're done. The next one we're going to look at is the standard form. And we haven't done this in a while, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page for how to do standard form ones. This is where we pick out our A, our B, and our C. Jason, what is our A? What's our B? What's our C?
-2,
Yep,
12, and -9.
good. The axis of symmetry, if you remember, it's the formula. X equals -B all over 2 times A. So we're going to plug in. Remember, when you plug in, you want to use parentheses. You plug in that negative, you put a negative, and then your B is 12. 2, and then you plug in -2 for A. So then we get -12 over -4. And then what does that give us? Shout it out if you know it.
3.
3, good. So our X equals 3. So that's the first key point of information we need. Once you get that 3, to get the other point for your Y, we plug it in. So we're going to take that and we're going to plug it back in the original equation. So you get Y equals -2, and then we're plugging in the 3. Squared plus 12 times 3 minus 9. And notice how we plug in the 3. Anya, order operations. What do we do first? So first thing we're going to do is square. So 3 squared is going to give you 9. So you get -2 times 9 plus 12 times 3. If you want to go ahead and multiply right there, that's fine. Now we're going to do our multiplication. -2 times 9 is -18. 12 times 3 is 36. Minus 9, you subtract and add from left to right. So -18 plus 36 gives you a +18 minus 9, and then 18 minus 9 is just 9. So Jason, what's our final point for a vertex going to be?
3, 9.
Yeah. So it's going to be 3, 9, and that's going to be your second point that we need. If you remember the formula, the y-intercept is easy for this one, and we haven't done it in a while. With the y-intercept, it's just 0, comma c. So it's just going to be 0, comma, -9, because -9 is your c value. Get that? That's your third piece of information. So now we have our 3, and then by now we all should be able to graph this. Put your dashed line on your axis of symmetry, which is 3. You graph your vertex, which is a max because it's opening down. So that'd be 3, 9. You graph your y-intercept, which is 0, -9. And then you're going to mirror. So it's 3 away. So you go 3 away on the right-hand side. And that's how you get your points. Then you draw your parabola. And that's it. So that's been a while since we've done that. But everybody did really well on that quiz on it. So hopefully it's coming back to you. I'm going to send it back to Miss Kane. She's going to go over a couple more with you. No, you're muted.
Thanks, Mr. King. So
You got it.
number 1 and 2 underneath are exactly like the second problem that Mr. King went over. So you might want to write next to this or above it to remind yourself that this form is ax squared plus bx plus c form. Or maybe underneath, write A, B, and C. But write something there to remind yourself what form you're looking at. And that's the same for number 2. So ABC form does not have parentheses in the problem. So you have 2 questions that you're going to do to practice this form. On Friday, there were 2 questions on your test, exactly like this. So 2 questions with this standard form. If you continue to scroll down, I want to look at the questions in the second group of problems. And this is questions 3 through 6. Notice it doesn't ask you to graph, but instead it says decide if the function has a max or a min, and then find the maximum or minimum value using algebra. We're not going to graph any of these. We're just going to say it opens up or down, it has a max or min, and then we're going to find that. So if you look at number 3 and kind of think about the form, Michael, in number 3, we have a -3x squared plus 12x minus 5. What form is number 3 in, Michael? So what do the letters represent? Are they A?
Standard.
B? Yeah, standard. So if it's standard, can you tell me what A, B, and C are, Michael?
Standard.
And then what are A, B, and C here? Emma, can you tell me what A, B, and C are for number 3?
I think it's just resetting now.
I'm having those Zoom issues that they're saying is going on today.
Well, that's all right. We got this.
Sorry, everybody. Let's try this again. I think Michael was
Well,
talking.
good thing it's all.
Okay, so we have standard form from what Michael said. A is -3, B is 12, and C is -5. So Michael, I'm going to go back to you. How do you know if this graph opens up or down?
If A is negative or positive.
Yeah, so if A is negative or positive, and in this case, it's negative, Michael, so it goes
Down.
down. And every time it goes down, your graph is a min or a max, Michael?
Wouldn't it be a max?
It is a max, yeah. So down max, pretend you had a dog that was jumping up like crazy. Little puppy, down max, get down max. The next part then says find the value. That value is talking about the vertex because that's where the minimum or the maximum occur. To find the vertex, we have to go through that process that Mr. King just went through. So this one is a lengthy process. I know there's not a lot of space, but you need to first find the x value. We need to first get the axis of symmetry because our goal is to find the vertex. And that is -b over 2a. So we are plugging in a 12 and we're plugging in a -3. So we need to get this maximum value. And in order to do that, we have to find the vertex. So we have -12 divided by -6, which is 2. So now we know that the x value of the vertex is 2. Bill, how do I find the y value of the vertex when x is 2? So how do I get that y value, Bill? If
Plug
x
in
is
the
2?
x to the whole equation.
Yeah. So we're going to plug in the x, as he said, into the whole equation. So we just found x to be 2.
I thought I'm muted. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No worries. I did it too. No worries. So we're going to plug in that 2, and then we'll evaluate. So 2 squared is 4. And then we will multiply the 2 pieces that we have to multiply together here. So we have a -12 plus 24 minus 5. And I'm going to pull myself up to the side here. So adding -4 plus 12, -12 plus 24 gives us a +12. And then I have to subtract 5. So my y value is 7. So that one's a long problem. Even though we're not graphing it, you're essentially still finding all of the information you need to graph. So we're saying it opens down because A is negative, which means it's a max, but then we still have to find that maximum value. And that really is the vertex. So we're finding the vertex. I also want to go over the one right underneath so that you can see the difference. One's going to be a lot of work. The other one's going to be no work whatsoever. So underneath for number 4, this one is A, H, and K. And you can see the difference. They look different. Number 4 has the parentheses in it and number 3 does not. Jason, what are the A, H, and K in number 4? So the A is -1, the H is -1, and the K is 2. And again, as Mr. King said, remember you're taking the opposite for H. So Emma, if you look at the A value here, it's -1. Does that mean our graph is going to go up or the graph is going to go down, Emma, when it's negative?
Down.
Yeah, it's going to go down. So this graph is going to go down. And again, just like the last one, every time it goes down, it's a max. And then we're still finding the vertex. But this time, the vertex is H and K. You don't have to do any work because we already have H and K listed. So one of the problems involves a lot of work, and the other form involves no work. So here is the H and K, or the vertex. So you're going to do 5 and 6 exactly like 3 and 4. And then you will have 2 problems like this on the test. So one problem like number 3 and another problem like number 4. So essentially your test is a mirror image of this. It's me taking the exact same review and changing the numbers for the test. The last thing that I want to go over with you, so I want to just continue to scroll. Numbers 7 and 8 are 2 graphing problems. This is that vertex form. So this is A, H, and K. Any notes that you can write for yourself will help remind you how to start the problem. And then again, you can use this on the test on Friday. So any notes that you write now will only benefit you when you go to do it, work through it, but then when you go to take that test as well. So A, H, and K, this is called vertex form when there's parentheses. This is the form we've been looking at the last couple of days. So the last group of problems want you to find the product. If you look at 9 through 11, 12 through 15, these are all the problems that require multiplying. And just looking at that last one, number 15, the directions want you to write it in standard form, which just means really we're supposed to multiply to change it to ax squared plus bx plus c. So Michael, what would you do first in number 15? -2 parentheses x minus 5 squared and then -7. What would we do first to get that to be written in standard form?
Would you put x minus 5 in parentheses twice?
Excellent. Yep, x minus 5 twice. So that's one of the key things. When it's squared, it means there are 2 of them. So you're going to write it twice. And then the second step is when you distribute, but make sure you distribute to both. So -2x, and then you also have to take -2 times -5. That's a positive 10. And then that goes back in parentheses. So the first quiz that you took, these problems, there were a lot of little mistakes on these problems. So write it twice, distribute it to both of them, and then don't forget those parentheses go back around it. And then you do the foiling process. So you're taking -2x times x, -2x times -5, and then 10 times x, and 10 times -5. Don't forget to bring down that little -7 that's sitting in the back. And then you look for your like terms, and there should be a pair of like terms in the middle and a pair of like terms at the end. So I would say, I know you don't like showing a lot of work and you try and get out of a step, but when you skip a step, there's generally a mistake that's made. So write the 2 parentheses twice, distribute through. Don't forget to rewrite those parentheses. That was one of the biggest mistakes that we were seeing. So you have some time to continue working on this review worksheet. You've got some of it done now, and at least you have comments or notes that you've made for yourself as you're working. Mr. King and I are both here, so if you want to break into a breakout room and we can continue working with you, we can do that. Otherwise, your homework is to just work on this worksheet, or the rest of the class should be to work on this worksheet. Does anybody have questions?